It's been a long journey this past year. It seems long to me, but I'm glad we're finally here. It's taken a lot of hard work on the part of a whole legion of people, and it's taken a lot of patience, and it's taken compromise. But nobody said the road to justice and equality was easy.
We're talking about equality for all members of society. We're talking about their ability to participate fully in our economy and our society. What is the big deal? And my more seasoned council members, some of whom are behind me, just kind of looked at me and said, okay. I said, great, let's move forward then, let's go. And I am so thankful for the people, in addition to Chris and Hugh McGough, who came into my life, people like Steve Glassman, who came with a lot of expertise and suggestions, Sue Fritchie, all of the people that Chris Rust has mentioned before me, and to all of you who I call unsung heroes. Because none of this would have been possible without your continued work, your persistence, your encouragement. It's the reason why I continued to fight like I did. Without you, it would not have been possible. It would not have happened. When I got tired of this whole thing, I could just think of you. I could read your emails, get your phone calls, and say, okay, this is why I'm doing this. I'm doing this to help our constituents. I'm doing this to help people in Allegheny County, to help human beings.
But Allegheny County is very special and very unusual. It's the second largest county, as you know, in the Commonwealth, and it has lagged behind the city of Pittsburgh for many, many years in the area of protecting minorities and women with regard to civil rights. And now Allegheny County can claim its rightful place on the right side of history, adding civil rights protection for everyone in this county and as a model for the state.
You know, being a Catholic kid from the north side, I grew up here, you know, there was one basic philosophy that I always had growing up, that I was always taught by my parents. And that is, no one should have to face discrimination. No one at all. And that if there was a way that we could deal with this, and I knew the significance of this bill coming out of a county our size from western Pennsylvania, that it would send a strong message about anti-discrimination across the state. Yeah. And once I got over that hurdle and said, you know, this is the right thing to do, we collectively sat down and said, okay, what's the body politics of this bill? Because I don't like to lose. If I'm gonna push a bill, if I'm gonna get behind a bill, I didn't want to come out of this with a loss. More importantly, I thought it would have been a disaster if this bill went down. If we were publicly pulling it out of committee, it would have been a disaster. Now, I actually misread it a little bit too. I thought we'd get a little more than 8. I didn't think it'd be this close, but it was close. But they got the majority vote. So I want to thank a few people. Let me personally thank Amanda Green first, because she was already thanked for introducing it and presenting it, so you know that part of the story. Part of the story you don't know is that she was very open-minded to sit down and talk about the body politics of what was happening, how to get it passed. And we start working together behind the scenes and start figuring out what do we need to do to get the votes to line up. Rich Fitzgerald, the president of County Council, obviously another strong advocate. Rich and Amanda, I will personally give the credit for keeping this a live issue in front of me on a regular basis as we go over 1,000 different things on a weekly basis. And Rich and I meet on a regular basis just on agenda items and just county government in general. And he was probably the strongest ally out of the box that Amanda had as this piece of legislation was going forward. But there's a few other people. Jim Burns is with us. You know, Jim Burns. person. He's also the head of the Allegheny County Democratic Party. And Jim was getting lobbied, I'm sure, in a lot of different directions on this. But again, was willing to be part of the team to talk about how to get this done. And he played a key role in pulling together the coalition for the vote on this. And I want to thank Jim for being part of this. I also want to thank Nick Vitolis. I have 9 names on here, but you know there are only 8 votes. Now, Nick actually was out of town, but he was an early sponsor of it. So you could technically say we didn't have 7 against it, because that was not the vote. The vote was 8-6. 8-6. 1 missing, out of town.
On the 9th vote.
And then I don't know where the other person is. I'll give you a minute. 4 people that aren't here today. I want to name all 4 of them. Councilman DeFazio, Councilman Robinson, Councilman Martoni, and Councilwoman Cleary. They're not here today, but I think it's important we say their names. They're part of those 8 votes. Now, there's one other council person I'm going to name. He was not one of the early persons in my office reminding me and pushing me from the very beginning. He was somebody that I would probably say that was kind of surprised that this piece of legislation came forward, and you know, maybe thought that it would stay in committee for a longer time, but it wasn't a priority of his. And this is Councilman Bob Macy. But let me tell you about Bob Macy. Bob Macy was one of the last conversations that I've had. We were leading up to pulling this out of committee, and he and I had a lot of conversations about this. He had some unique pressures that I'm not going to talk about that were outside forces on it. But as we talked through it, it came down to the issue that I started with. The basic premise that this was an anti-discrimination bill. And I want to thank him because at the end of the day, he did the right thing and he put the bill over the top. And I want to thank Bob Macy. I just hit the ballpoint part better, okay? Oh yeah, you're right. No one looked. So I at least touched them all.
Remember, who'll give me the first 100 for the first pen?
Okay, thank you everyone. Congratulations. Thank you all.